Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody Bills, this is Logan Burgess. Today is Friday, September 7th for the weekly wrap-up. Let's get right into fire dip, see where the market closed here for the grains. Corn was mostly unchanged, trading at $7.98 to close the week. Beans traded down 14, trading at $17.33, and wheat actually made some gains to the upside, trading up 13.5. I know the currencies were very active, and the currencies seem to play a very important role in the sales that the U.S. gets and wins. Logan, can you kind of walk us through why did we see such a big sell-off in the dollar?
Yeah, Cody. Well, yeah, just as you're saying, we did see a big sell-off in the dollar today, really coming down, about getting ready to test that 80 level where we traded around back in March. Really pushing this thing lower was the non-farm payrolls report that we got out this morning. That really missed the mark here in terms of what the trade was expecting for jobs created. One note, we did have unemployment actually pull back from 8.3% unemployment down to 8.1%, but that was actually a result of around 368,000 people leaving the labor force. So that was unemployment pulled back, but not for the right reasons. Bottom line, people are expecting the Fed to come out, do some type of bond buying program, as we had Mario Draghi announce yesterday out of the ECB, clearly pushing the dollar index lower and certainly helping out the wheat market here, as you were saying. You know, if we look at a December chart for the dollar right now, it's taken quite a fall here in recent weeks, traded down sharply here this morning, but kind of looks like it may be finding support around that 80 area. That should act as support there for this contract.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, one thing that was kind of interesting, I mean, you mentioned that there's suspicion that maybe Ben Bernanke will do some sort of QE3. You know, we've had those suspicions for quite a long time, and everyone continues to have suspicion. And it seems like it's kind of a stare down between Bernanke and the rest of the market. Everyone is expecting him to do stuff, but because they're expecting, the market doesn't sell off. And so I guess I kind of wonder, if something does happen, if he does do a QE3, will it have the intended effect if everyone knows he's going to do it? So I think that's one thing that we really want to pay attention to. If he has an announcement of any sort, and it may be it may be next week, it may be 6 months from now, who knows exactly when this announcement will be. May never happen. But if he has the announcement, we got to pay close attention to how the trade reacts to it, because it may not have the same intended effect or the same effect that it's had in the past.
Right, certainly. We'll have to keep an eye on that here on GrainTV. You know, one thing we were looking at today was a really interesting trade action out of the soybean complex on that November contract. Do you kind of want to take people through what we saw there in today's trade?
Yeah, let's actually take a look at the 5-minute. This is a candlestick chart. This is the November futures contract for soybeans, and you can see here that we traded off in the morning, and then what we had was an Informa announcement. Their analyst expectations for the yield that the USDA will announce, and it came out below what the current USDA estimates are. And so I think that spurred some buying here by mid-morning. You know, we traded up. We were actually trading positive. We consolidated for most of the day, but right near the end, look at how fast we sold off here. And I think that is kind of just as important as the rally that we saw in reaction to the report. I think it kind of tells me that we may not be ready to move higher. We've had this kind of volatility at the top, this kind of expanding triangle, and that implies that there's more volatility. I'm concerned that we're actually primed maybe for some selling here going into the USDA report. I know basis certainly is not supporting a sharp move higher here. I think the probability most likely lies at either sideways or a sell-off here going into WAS.
Yeah, we'll take a quick look at basis here right after we run through these Informa numbers real quick. Right now, Informa did come out with 119.8 bushels per acre for this corn crop, 35.4 bushels per acre for the soybean crop. How does that compare to what the USDA has this crop pegged at in their August report? August, they came out with 123.4 for corn, 36.1 bushels per acre there for beans, so certainly lower. And really, in terms of the corn crop here, a lot of private analysts have been coming out with a sub-120 yield out of this crop. It wouldn't be surprising to see a sub-120 yield from the USDA next Wednesday. That's not going to be a huge shock to the market. You know, I feel it's partially been priced in here with the action that we've been seeing. But so that's what we saw Informa come out with here this morning. That's kind of what's moving around the futures market right now. Cody, I know you took a closer look at basis and what's going on there right now. Can you kind of give us a rundown?
Yeah, that closer look at basis is really kind of what led me to believe that maybe beans are more primed to sell right now than to continue moving higher. Beans for the the Corn Belt on average fell 9.8%, the basis, or 9.8 points for basis across the grain belt. New crop was down 1.83 cents. The Gulf dropped 14 cents. The river dropped 10 cents. Plants are trending lower. They've been trending lower since about the 21st of August. And so I guess I look at that and I think to myself, maybe we're a little front-loaded here for export sales. I think a lot of people were very concerned about the crop situation. I think they got a little bit they got trigger happy. We're running well ahead of pace in terms of percentage of meeting the USDA's export expectations. So maybe people have their short-term obligations locked in. Maybe they're going to start waiting here and see just how bad this crop is before they book any more sales down the line. I think for me, I look at the cash market and it's indicating, and we're not really in harvest yet. I mean, I would understand if we're in harvest and we're seeing basis dropping off. We're not quite there yet. And perhaps this is indicating some demand destruction, at least in the short term, and could lead to some selling off going into the USDA's report.
Certainly, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We will be getting updated supply and demand figures out of that report. That's next Wednesday, September 12th. Put that on your calendar. We'll be getting a WASDE report and a crop production report that day, so it's certainly going to be a big day here for the grain complex in general. I think that kind of wraps up our show here for Friday afternoon. Thanks a lot for joining us on GrainTV. We'll see you back here Monday.